Thank you everyone for joining us for today's Bangalore Tableau user group. So the speakers for today are Manpreet from Tableau and we have also Praveen from Bosch. My name is Kizley and I'm the co-host of the Bangalore TUG and I will be taking you through the session today. So let's get started. A few session guidelines before we start. So this session is being recorded and also a copy of the slides for the presenters will be shared with all of you after this. If you have any volume issues or difficulty in hearing, please turn up the volume on your device if you're using to dial in or try to redial in later. Please submit all your questions only via the Q&A box and not the chat at the bottom of your screen. So after the speaker's presentation, we'll be having a short Q&A session at the end. So you can put your questions to your presenters. So a bit about us, the TUG leaders. We have Divya, who's a Tableau ambassador and works in business intelligence. I'm also a Tableau ambassador and I work as an analyst in Johnson & Johnson. And we have Naveen, also a Tableau ambassador, works with Cisco as a data visualization engineer. You can reach out to us separately on our Twitter IDs, or we'll also be sharing a link to our Twitter and LinkedIn pages so you can keep track of us there as well. So a look at Bangalore TUG numbers since 2019. We've had 4 meetups so far with 13 speakers and close to 650 registrations. We are planning a couple of meetups later in this year as well. So please stay connected with us on Twitter and LinkedIn to know more. And so speakers for today, we have Manpreet from Tableau, we have Praveen from Bosch, and we have Divya as well, who would be presenting. So the agenda for today is our first speaker will be Manpreet, who will be presenting on the data model. Our second speaker is Praveen, who would be talking to us about the modern UI dashboards. And then we have Divya, who will be sharing some visualization best practices and how to get started with an interactive Tableau resume. This will be followed by a short Q&A session. And after that, we have something called happy hours, which is like a fun, engaging session for about 10 minutes. That would be followed by the closing remarks. And we are planning to wrap up by around 6 p.m. IST. So let's get started. First speaker today is Manpreet Singh. Manpreet has been working in the IT industry for 21 years and spent most of his time in data and analytics. Is a senior solution architect and has led many data and analytics strategies for different organizations. And is currently working as a lead solution engineer for Tableau Salesforce India. So Manpreet, over to you. You can share your screen.
Thanks, Kizley. Let me share the screen. All right, so hope you are able to see my screen.
Yes, we can see.
Okay, so Kizley has always also introduced me. Okay, and we can now probably directly jump to the session. So as part of this session, I will give you an overview of one of our very important feature of 2020.2, that is Tableau data model. Okay, and to start with, Let's assume a use case uh, which require information from different tables. Okay, so in this case, basically, till 2020.1, we were combining tables in the data source. Okay, using join conditions like left outer join or right outer join or inner join. Here I have used inner join in this picture. So in such solution situation, uh, analysts should be aware of the fact that what type of questions will be answered. Okay, so if they are aware of the questions, then they can place their joins accordingly. It can be inner join or it could be left join and right join. Okay, so what happens when we do this join? It basically creates a denormalized structure. Okay, which is very static in nature, and it's more of a physical structure, right? But starting from 2020.2, with data modeling feature, analysts can create logical structure. They can create relationship between these tables, and each table maintain its own structure. So tables are not physically joined, but they are logically joined. I will show you how. Uh, and as you see that Tableau will dynamically decide the type of join between tables based on columns being pulled into the view. Okay, so this again I will show you in the demo. And since tables are logically joined, they maintain their native level of detail. That is, tables remain distinct. If they are normalized, they will still remain normalized, unlike in 2020.1 where they were getting denormalized on joining with other tables. So like here, this is basically a star schema, fact order, and there are different dimension tables. They are forming a relationship between each other. They are not physically combined with each other. Okay. Now let's take you guys directly to the this piece of demo. So I am connected with the book data. Okay, there are different tables here, and this is Tableau 2020.2 desktop. Okay, I click on book, and if I double click on book, it shows me the same picture which we used to see in 2020.1, right? And then if I click on checkouts, by default it creates the inner join based on the book ID, basically, which is present in both the tables. So this is the denormalized structure at the bottom, right? I have 6 columns, 3 columns coming out from the book table. Okay, book ID, title, and author ID, and then there are 3 columns from the checkout table, right? Uh, so let's take another example now. Same idea, but on uh, data modeling. So I have book, just click on book, and then there is checkout. I just drag checkout, and you can see a noodle is appearing here, right? So noodle is basically trying to create the relationship between the 2 tables. Okay, so so this is the relationship. Basically, book ID is present in both the tables, so it has created relationship. And for relationship, what I need to know the cardinality, right? So one book can have many checkout, and one checkout belongs to one book. By default, Tableau selects many. Okay, but there is option to change it, and we'll talk about that later on while discussing about the performance. And then there is some parameters around referential integrity as well. So by default, some records match and some records match on both the sides. If I am not aware of, okay, what kind of granularity is there, what kind of relationship is there, what kind of referential integrity between these 2 tables, then I can leave everything as it is, right? So closing it, and now I have clicked on checkout. So you can see that there are 3 columns from checkout table. Okay, and if I click on book, I can see 3 columns in under book table. So basically, a logical relation is created. They are not physically combined together. Okay, and if I click on book table, I can still do all kind of physicalization here. Okay, like if I need to combine book with the information, additional information, I can still do that. And if when I click on cross, it brings me to the logical layer. So this is called logical layer. Okay, and whatever we created earlier, this is a physical layer. Right? It's more static, right? And logical layer is basically flexible for me, right? And I am able to create the hybrid kind of stuff here. Both physicalization is there as well as a relationship I have maintained here. Okay, physical as well as logical stuff. Now let's go back to the PPT. So here in this picture on the left hand side bottom, basically these are group of people who are standing in a queue, okay, with balloon between them. So consider it as a block, okay, block of people, right? If we pull out single person out of this queue, the whole queue will get impacted. So there is no flexibility in it. It is quite static. If I take out this person in red t-shirt out, the whole block will get impacted. And on the other side, at the top side, in this picture, a bowler is basically he wants to get the wickets, and hence throwing balls with the different variations. Okay, but batsman is also very smart. With fraction of milliseconds, he dynamically changes his position according to the length of the ball, and then with flexibility, he's playing all kind of shots here and there, right? So similar kind of flexibility and dynamic nature comes with Tableau data model. So flexibility is in the sense of a variety of questions can be asked, and for each question you get variety of answers as well. It's more intuitive. So we will see that in an example. And it's dynamic in nature because the join is decided based on the attributes or columns you have selected in the views. Okay, they are not statically joined. They are logically joined. So the join is basically getting decided based on the columns which are pulled into the view, right? Now, then how it helps? It helps both business as well as the IT, right? Uh, how it helps the analyst? So analysts don't have to learn the skills. They don't need to learn the data skills. They just throw their tables into the relationship, okay, into logical layer, and then they can ask variety of questions there. Okay, so they don't need to decide that what kind of join I should put to get answer for particular questions, right? And for IT also, so IT, they spend a lot of money on their end-to-end structure, right? So they spend a lot of money on creation of databases, creation of data model within their databases, and they can uh, they load those data models through the ETL. So all the business rules are already implemented in that ETL layer, right? So in this case, with Tableau data modeling, they can just bring those, so analysts can just bring that relationship into the logical layer. They can bring those tables along with their relationship into logical layer. All right. Um, so let's jump to an example here. Okay. So I showed you a book table. So the granularity of book table is basically one record per book ID. So for each record, there is one entry in this table. Okay. And checkouts is basically if user he um, he can take books on rent. Let's say for 1 month he can take the books for on rent. So here the granularity becomes number of time a book is checked out in a month. So like here in this example, so checkout is 40 and checkout month is Jan, and this is the book ID. Similarly for March, 39 is the measure, right? So hence there are 12 records basically for each month, for each book ID. And they maintain basically one to many relation. One book can have many checkout and one checkout will have only one book ID. Okay. Now if business ask a question, which book titles are checked out and how many times? Okay. So it is book titles and how many times. So let's go back to the same screen where we created the physical layer. We have already combined, and let's keep it as inner join. I go on the sheet 1 and then I click on title and bring checkout here, sort it, label it, and also take a total. Okay. So here I get total as, so this is grand total, 13,436 total checkouts. And on the left hand side, which is very important to note here, is there are 57 marks and 57 rows. So these marks and rows include the grand total as well. Okay. And I know that this answer is not correct. So probably I go back again, and this time I can choose a right join so that I have all the records, whatever are there in the checkout. And now if I go to sheet 1, you can see that there are 58 marks and 58 rows. So there is an increment of 1. Okay, earlier it was 57, now it is 58, and the grand total is now 13,533. There are additional 97 values. So what has happened here? If you look here at this place, we have title as null, but there are 97 records. So what is that 97 here? Okay, so there is a book ID in checkout table CH392 with again 12 records, and this total of checkout is 97. But this book ID is not present in book table. So it's not present in book table, but present in checkouts table. And that's the reason of this. Okay. Now, if I go back to my screen again and ask a next question, which book titles have never been checked out? Okay. So there are book titles, but they have never been checked out. So what happens? Now this time I go to the relationship table. I can remove the information from here so that they look same as the physical layer. And go to sheet 1, click on title, and then get the checkout here, sort it, label it, and also take a grand total. Okay. Now what? So I got the grand total of 13,533. And the second thing is I have 58 marks, but there are 60 rows. So I found 2 additional rows here. So if I go back to the physical layer, here there were 58 rows, but in my logical layer, I have 60 rows. Okay, so basically null is there, and I can see two more titles without any value. So that means these two titles or book IDs, they are present in my book table, but they are not present in my checkouts table. So it answers my question, okay, that there are certain books which have not been checked out. So these are those two books, right? So you get more intuitive answer, okay, uh, for our questions, right? And if I take you back to our physical structure, right, to get that answer, then again analyst will have to do what? Change the join again so that it becomes full outer join. And now if I look into this sheet, I am getting same answer, 60 rows. So these two book IDs which have not been checked out are appearing here, right? So every time the analysts have to change those combinations, whereas in other case we are not doing that. uh, all right, so I want to show you again another question basically here. uh, if I want to say, okay, I just want to see the titles from book table. So in physical layer, I just want to see uh, book IDs, let's say. Okay, I click on book ID. So I get all the book IDs. So this is one column which I have taken from book table. That's what I want to see. Okay, and similarly, in my logical layer, I want to see book ID. So I just click on this and got the book IDs. Now, what has happened behind the scene? So I have done a performance recording of it to see the actual what sequels have got executed. So when I did this uh, in the physical layer, it is doing a full outer join because it is in physical layer. I have already defined full outer join. Okay, so the full outer join is has taken place on books and checkouts, and after that I got the actual answer. Okay, and similarly in the relationship, when I picked this one, I just picked one column. Okay, what actually happened? Tableau automatically decided that since it is one, the column is from a single table, so I will only fire my select on that particular table. Okay, so this is what has happened. So in case like I I pick more columns from this, it will still hit the book table. Okay, but if I take checkout, put checkout here, and as well as books information, then it will try to join those two tables. Okay, so in this when I ask this question in my physical layer, the first question, this was what actually happened behind the scene. So it was book titles and some of checkouts. And since I choose left join there, basically right join on checkout, so to take all the row values from checkout, so it took left join here and then join it with the book table. Okay, but in physical in logical layer, in relationship, it actually did a left join for both the tables and then finally did a inner join on that on this derived table. Okay, so that so basically you can consider it as a full outer join. So that Tableau automatically decided let's go for full outer join. right? And here, let's take another example. So I have already created, so I have a data. Basically, it's again a superstore data, and but this is there are different tables. So it is more of a star schema which we have. Okay, so I create a physical layer of it. I joined fact order with all my uh, 5 dimension tables, and then I created this sheet where I have taken uh, attributes from customer table, okay, and product table, and these facts are from fact table. So basically 3 tables I have got involved: dim customer, dim product, and my fact table, right? And in my relationship also, I created a proper star schema here with the relationships. Okay, so you can see different relationships have been created here, and same stuff I have done here. So I have taken customer segment, sales, and from product table I have taken categories, product categories, profit, and my sale, right? And what happens actually behind the scene here? So I have again taken the uh, uh, their performance recording, this. So in physical layer, all the 5, 6 tables are getting joined based on the joining condition which I have put. So I put inner join, so everything is on inner join. And here, this is Tableau internally has decided only 3 tables from which I picked my attributes, that is customer segment, product categories, and sales, and from the fact order, sales and profit. So it has just picked those 3 tables, facts, dim customer, and dim product, and joined them in a different way, inner join and then left outer join on those two, right? So just wanted to make sure you get this message that with the, so Tableau will join the Tableau will decide the kind of join, okay? But in physical layer, it is, we have already freezed it. We have already freezed the join. And if my question changes, I also change my joining condition. It can go left join or right join or not. But in this case, probably we may not have to do anything. Okay. So now let's do something here. This is just want to give an overview of the performance. So I am in logical layer. So these relationships are there. So you know when we created it, this window appeared, right? And under performance options, there is cardinality. So right now, by default, it is many to many. But I know that this is one to many. So for one customer, there are many orders. Okay. So I can change this to one to many. And for referential integrity, I mentioned that some records match. So I was not aware, but here I am aware of that because I have properly implemented my data model in the database. My business rules are proper in my ETL layer. Okay, so I have a confidence here that all records match. That is, all keys or customer IDs appearing in this are also present in my fact order table. So I just change the referential integrity accordingly. Okay, I have done this for dim customer. Let's do it for dim product as well. Same thing. For one product, there are many entries in fact table, and for each keys in dim product, I have corresponding keys present in fact order as well. Okay, I also want to do it for dim market because of cache sometimes the performance recording is not proper. So all records and all records here, cross it. Now let me open another sheet here. Let me go to settings, start performance recording. So this time let me start with the market. Okay, so I take the market and corresponding sales for this market, and sorry, yeah, okay, and then I pick my category and subcategory, and then I can color it based on uh, this. So subcategory has not appeared, right? Okay, so I got this beautiful view here, and then I let us stop this. Let's see if it has captured properly. Stop performance recording. So basic idea is about the performance tuning. If my model is proper, then I can use some of the options here, which can improve the performance behind the scene. So what has actually happened here? Mm, Let me just take keep only because sometimes it behaves weirdly. Yeah, so let me take this one. So this is the SQL which got executed, right? So I got market, category, profit, and sales. So you look at this. This time it is inner join. So fact orders is basically inner join with dim market, and then it is inner join with dim products. Okay, but what happened earlier was this. So it was left join, and then these three tables left join, and then there was an inner join with the fact order table. Okay, so this is the change, inner join. So when inner join happens, basically I am taking only those columns, or my number of records basically get reduced, right? And with my left join, I am considering all the columns from all the records from particular tables. So it basically optimize my query result, right? And this is what I captured earlier. So inner join on fact order, dim customer, and dim products, and logical layer relationship, and similarly logical layer this. Okay, so this basically saves time for me, because what has actually happened, the feed I have given to Tableau is that I know that all my dimensional keys, they are basically present in my table or in my fact table. So all my keys are also present here. All my keys are also present here. Okay, so I know that inner join will give me perfect answer for this. So Tableau automatically then choose inner join in this case. Okay, so I think that's it from my end for this session. So basic idea was to give you an overview. Okay, and being an important feature, we thought that you should be aware of it, and you basically understand the actual concept behind it. And there are a lot of other things also, like if I have many to many relationships, uh, it can result in duplicate records in physical layer. Okay, then then when the measure gets duplicated, then I have to fix it with using average function or level of detail, LODs sometimes we use to fix that. But it is altogether different in relationship. You may not have to use LODs for that particular purpose. Okay, so I would wish you guys should start exploring it and give us the feedback, right? So thank you very much for this. Over to you, Kizley.
Thank you, Manpreet. That was a really in-depth look into the new data model, and hopefully everyone got to learn of this new feature. So thank you for that, Manpreet. So moving on to our next speaker, we have Praveen Jose from Bosch. So Praveen has been working with UX-based dashboard design for almost half a decade, and he's currently working as a user experience designer and data visualization developer at the Bosch Center for Artificial Intelligence. And in the past, he has worked with sales, marketing, finance, FMCG, and airline domains. He specializes in UX wireframing and design, advanced business Tableau dashboard development, corporate branding based design, and user centered dashboard design. So, Praveen, over to you. You can share your screen and start.
Okay, perfect. So let me do this. Okay, I'm sharing my screen. Just let me know once you're able to see it.
Yep, can see it.
All right. So okay. So yeah, that was really good. Thank you, Kizley. For this is that's one of the most brief and very perfect description someone's given me. I think so. Divya's put in a lot of effort to write that down. So it was such a wonderful day. I thought I'll present about modern UI dashboards and why do we need that? So this is a buzz around the industry right now, and people would like to know why we come up with you know complex UIs. Why can't we stick to simple ones? There are people who ask me that if I even go for this, what are the challenges? What are the implications for that? So I thought, what, let's break the ice here. I had the opportunity to work with some couple of folks in the past, some exceptional folks, and we worked together for modern UI dashboards from the past 5 years. I've been working with that over multiple clients, multiple companies, and I've seen how the trend um, progresses. Once we try to change the way how we visualize the information, and modern UI dashboard is just a term given to that, but in reality what happens is it's more of giving sophisticated UI to the user, extremely complex information, but just leveraging it in a UI format which is extremely simple. That's that total purpose of modern UI dashboards. And I thought maybe today it's easier to showcase to the user because I have a couple of examples to showcase. So I thought, why not go for it? So jumping into the presentation, I'll give a quick intro on myself. My name's Praveen P Jose. I work with Bosch Center for Artificial Intelligence. It's based out of Runningen, Germany, and I work as a data visualization specialist as a primary uh, part of my job. And I also do user experience design for BCAI, or Bosch Center for AI. I specialize myself in BI dashboard design and user experience conceptualization, corporate branding based design, and all this entitled into a single form of designing users specific to users, dashboards specific to users. And why this topic comes up is it's very simple. I'll just explain that in the next slide. So this is the question at the end of the day. Any analyst or any person who is designing a dashboard has to answer: what is the purpose of a business dashboard? Or if I come up with a business dashboard, what's the purpose of that? In a business world, it's all people say it's fair enough to come up with visuals, different type of visuals, but at the end of the day what matters is insights, right? And insights should be precise. They should be extremely useful. They should be useful for a user. They should be useful in a way that he can use it. to derive business decisions, right? And based on business decision, a person, if let's say myself, I'm ready to take a business decision for my company. Why should I trust a dashboard? It's just a dashboard. It's something which comes over on a screen. It's very difficult to justify the fact that something which comes on a screen is giving me insight to run my company. So insight from the BI dashboard should be extremely complex, yet the user should be able to understand that. Despite the fact he is a technical or a non-technical user, he should be able to understand the insight and take business decisions. And at the end of the day, since it's a business world, everything transfers us to increase in revenue. So very simple concept. Any business dashboard we design, be it modern UI, non-modern UI, this is the basic um, output that we expect is increase in revenue. Now, how can modern UI help you to come to this, traverse to this, and in the end of the day, generate revenue for you? So how does modern UI uses to make business decisions? So as I said earlier, coming up with a new UI may be very difficult. People might think, okay, why should I even go for this? It's a pain in the ass. I shouldn't even take this solution. I might even go for something which is much more simpler. User might get the insight. But even there, even in the sentence which I said, we used a word called user might be able to get an insight. My question is, what if the user is not able to get an insight? So is it problem that you are not a good data analyst because you're not able to generate insight out of your information? Or is it that you are not able to convey your information? There are two aspects for that. So how do we uh, take the analysts or analysis part of the discussion out? Because I know exceptional data analysts out there. The only problem is, I assume, is we're not able to convey the information in the best format, right? So how do we use modern UI to convey the best information? So first topic I would like to take in is common UI. What is a common UI? We see UI every day. We see it on television. We see it on our phones, in our apps. We see it anywhere. There's boards, billboards, pamphlets, handouts, anything. Everything is UI. We see that, and we are used to that. Anything that is different from that, we feel that it's not speaking our language. It's not for us, right? And that causes a barrier. And if that same barrier exists in your dashboard, it's not going to work. It's not going to give insight, right? Even though you're trying to pack it with insights more and more every day, you still not be able to convey that insight to a business user. So how do we do that? A common UI will help you. And when I say common UI, we have multiple common UIs. One is a Metro UI, one is a Material UI. I'll be showing examples for that in the slides ahead. But when I say Metro UI and Material UI, these are one of the most common UIs available. If I take Microsoft as a product, Microsoft as a product is built on top of Metro UI and Material UI. When I say Material UI, is more of icons and bringing out user experience based on icons and lesser touch points. That's all about Microsoft. Ease of use, user friendliness. People come to Microsoft only for that. People come to Mac for exceptional design capabilities or coding platforms, but there again the UI isn't entirely different. We call it Apple UI. It's entirely different. Not many people are comfortable with that because it's more favorable among developers and people who are in the Western side of the world. But on a general base, if I take, it's more of Microsoft users. So Microsoft saw that, okay, common users, let's come up with a common UI, and it's built on top of Metro UI and Material UI. Metro UI, if I take an example, simple one, it's something which is used in the Windows 8.1 version, and it's a tablet mode. It's very simple tiles and arranged in the format. So that's about common UI. So when you come up with a common UI, you can reach to more users out, because you have your insight, and you have an insight structured in a dashboard in the format of a common UI, which is commonly used by people. You can speak to any user in that case. You can speak to a non-technical, technical user. It doesn't really matter to you, right? Second thing that I would like to highlight here is simpler controls. Now, I've seen people coming up with dashboards which have hundreds of drop downs, and it's so frustrating for a user when he sees, oh my God, I gotta tackle all these drop downs. Haven't got to do that. It's so complex and it's not going to work. So a simpler controls on my dashboard should really ease the life of the user. And one of the simple the controls that we give is the example that I've given is buttons. I've seen a trend in the recent years. People start to come up, instead of why, instead of having filters based on the drop downs, why can't I have an array of images which the user can visually see and select out his filter out his required information. So simpler controls will help you to achieve modern UI, and these are all part of modern UI. And as and when we progress, we see the next we need is less touch points on a dashboard. It's about you see you have a dashboard, you packed it with filters, you packed it with tooltips and the charts inside tooltips. These are all good. These are exceptionally good. But is it giving the user the ease into diving into insight? The lesser the options, that means you have to build a dashboard which is almost at the verge of reaching an insight, and you have to push the user to the point where he uses the limited controls on a dashboard and he reaches to the insight. We can't expect him to navigate through all the touch points and say, you know what, after 50 touch points you get the insight. That's not going to happen, because money is directly proportional to time. You waste too much time, you can't spend too much, and you can't earn too much. And at the end of the day, money is all that matters in the business world. So we gotta be fast, we gotta have less touch points on the dashboard. That's another added advantage to modern UI. The third one is time it takes to reach an insight. It's actually a derivation of the point which I said earlier. uh, I've seen dashboards people come up with, and even I myself I designed in my initial days dashboards where we had, let's say, 15 filters, and we put in all the data into the dashboard, and we give the 15 filters, and we think, you know what, as a developer achieved, because I have given the user the flexibility or the capability to filter out any information that he wants, filter out as much as detailed information that he wants, and he can generate out his insight. But speaking in a 21st century, that doesn't really work. The reason being, I don't expect the user to click on 15 different filters and find out his right combination. Let's say we have 15 filters with 10 values each, then he has to go in through 15 into 10, 150 combinations to find out an insight. Now that's crazy, man. Seriously, you can't expect a user to navigate through 150 combinations. And let's assume this dashboard is a daily refresh dashboard. I mean, you're done, your day is done. So we can't really expect people in the business side to spend more time clicking around in the dashboard. So time it takes to reach an insight should be extremely low, right? And the next point that comes up is dynamicity. Now this is something I follow every day, day in, day out, and it's totally near and dear to my heart, and I keep it in that way. Dynamicity is something which you build dashboards which are extremely dynamic, which have absolutely no static content. I have seen dashboards by people. I have also personally designed dashboards in the very early stages where there are static components in the dashboard. There are charts which have static components inside them. People usually feel those colorful charts and they see that, okay, you know what, this looks good. Why shouldn't I go for that? And people try to come up with charts that are not very easily feasible, yet they try to make it feasible. They come up with static components. And once the data refreshes tomorrow or in the next 2 weeks, you're gone, because that UI is working on top of a static information. Now, a modern UI is something giving comfortable common UI to users, which is having simpler controls, which is having less touch points on the dashboard, yet more information, and is dynamic enough. This is all that modern UI has to offer to people, and this is all what needs to be done in the right fashion to achieve all the insights that we need to drive decisions for the user, and at the end of the day generate revenue. So I think that's more on a theoretical part. Let me take into a little design phase. So this is one of the dashboards that I published maybe a couple of months ago on Teladoc Health Incorporated. This is one of the Project Help List dashboards. I designed this using Metro UI and also Material UI. It's I'm not trying to market out my product here, but I'm trying to say is, as a user, if I'm working in a finance industry and if I see this dashboard, this looks something similar to what I have already and conveys me the information that, you know what, this is not new to me. It is not something alien. It looks extremely normal to me. There are numbers, there are indicators, there are KPIs. There is a quick calculator in the side, and there's a wonderful chart. It gives me the branding. Teladoc is my, let's say, a person working in Teladoc. It shows me that it's made for me. It's made in my company and speaks my language. So this is something that people need, even though you see that it has very less controls. The time it takes the user to arrive at a decision, let's say if he has to decide in the next 3 months or in the past 3 months how much he has invested, he doesn't really have to spend too much time because we already churned out the information, we have structured it, we have provided him so much of information. He just has to use a couple of touch points to come to his come to his sort of like a moment where he realizes, you know what, this is going to help me. So the amount of information that we show him is extremely exactly the same as a normal UI. The only thing we have done it is we have reduced the touch points. We have reduced the amount of time it takes to reach to an insight. We have reduced the situation where he feels that the UI is lacking a language that talks to him. We have made a dashboard extremely similar to a dashboard which a finance guy uses in his, let's say, a person in the share market working. He's going to have an exactly same UI in his normal days. And if he sees this, he's not going to go crazy. He's going to be like, okay, this is something normal I see every day. So that's the total point of this. If I go to my second example, it's another Project HealthWiz dashboard that I pushed out for the month of March. This is more for the COVID-19 design, and then people were trying to analyze the values that time. Yep. So this is one dashboard that I pushed out front. Which point here, we don't have absolutely much touch points. We only have 2 touch points in total, which out of which one is inside the chart. It's a tooltip. Now, speaking of this, people say if I'm a person in the business and if I want to see what is the impact the COVID numbers are having on my business, I need a dashboard like this, definitely. So one, because it's even though it has 100 different analyses on it, it still is very concise. It is small. It is giving me quick results. Let's say the green colored ones immediately show me that something good is going to be posted over there. Anything that comes up over there is good. It's not going to be bad, right? Even though the numbers are less or the numbers are high, it's still going to be something which is going to give me a positive information. If I see the chart here, the curve flattened one, if I am able to read the text completely at the back, that means I'm good. Curve is flattened. If the curve is not flattened, it's exponentially increasing, then I might not be able to read the word flattened, which is giving me insight in a very quick fashion. I don't have to, run around, read a page or read a lengthier dashboard to understand whether I'm doing good or whether my area is doing good, whether my country is doing good, and these are information that people need, very quick insights, common UI, quick insights, simpler controls, and a dynamic dashboard. So this dashboard has absolutely zero static content. Going on to the next one, one which I commonly showcase for common UI is my dashboard for last month for IronQuest. This is extremely native to common UI. It is the same UI structure of Twitter. The colors, the branding, it speaks out. You don't really have to think twice to understand this is something to do with Twitter. If you are using Twitter, if you're even open Twitter, or if you even read some news where there is a Twitter-based tweet mentioned, that you don't really have to think too much to understand this has something to do with social media. This has something to do with stats. This has something to do with analyses on my quarantine tweets. So it's pretty simple. When I tell my quarantine tweets, I can't put out a dashboard without showing my intro. So I have to show about who I am and what I do. and my quarantine tweets and my analysis. It's a very good example of common UI. People don't really have to struggle. If I'm a person who is a social media enthusiast, if I see this dashboard, it should hardly take me minutes to come to analysis or get an insight. How many tweets did I make? Which month, which day did I make so many tweets? Shouldn't even take me minutes to come to an concise understanding of what to do. So this might not be actually something you can use for business, but what I'm trying to say is a common UI gives you a very quick insight into how can we use this information, how quickly can we use this information to run a business. So this is all about modern UI I would like to showcase. Yeah, I think so. That's pretty much the norm. And if you have anything, just drop me a mail or drop by to the Tableau user group. The people, they are exceptionally great, and they can even help you out reaching out to me. So over to you, Kizley. I'm stopping the share here. Yeah, thank you.
Yep, thanks, Praveen. Those were some good pointers on modern UI dashboards, and I know it's been a hot topic, especially in the Tableau community, and some great looking dashboards as well. So thanks for that. So our next speaker is Divya. She would be giving a presentation on interactive resumes in Tableau. Divya, you can start.
Thanks, Kizley. Okay, let me start sharing my screen. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, we can see.
Yeah. Hi everyone, this is Divya. So basically, I'm so happy to see so many of you joining us today, on this wonderful day for Bangalore Tableau User Group. So today I'm just going to discuss on this interactive Tableau resume. Basically, few of us are in the mid of job search, or even some of us are really looking for a new opportunity, right? So in the scenario, instead of sharing a traditional resume using a PDF or a Word document, actually you can even do the same thing using Tableau itself. In this case, it's going to be really interactive, and it's also going to really impress your recruiters as well. Because if there's going to be any hyperlinks, they can simply click on that icon and it will just take them to the relevant page. So I'm just going to walk you through this process. So if you're really wondering, okay, so now I just decided, like, I really wanted to create a dashboard which speaks about my profile so that I can, submit this to one of my recruiter. So in this case, how do you get started? Like, what are the things, I should really, look for or take care? So I'm just going to walk you through those things. The first thing is the format. So there are like different types of resumes, so such as chronological, functional, and combination. So if you speak about the first one, the chronological, it is nothing but this type of resume. It usually starts from your current work experience and it goes in the reverse order. So let's say currently you're working in a company, so it just starts from there, and it in that way it just roll backwards to your the most oldest one. So that's all about the chronological. And second one is functional. So functional is all about highlighting more on your skills. So let's say you have learned or have more hands-on on certain tools or technology, right, such as Tableau, Python, Alteryx, Nime, and so on. So if you really want to give highlight on these things, rather than speaking more about a work history, then functional is that's all about. And third is combination. This is nothing but the it really blends the first two. So it blends the flexibility of the work experience from chronological and also the skills from the functional. So now you might actually wonder, so okay, so we have these many options, right? So which one should I go for? Which one I should actually pick for designing my profile? So if you have a work history, experience which is very similar to the the job you're looking for, then maybe you can go with the first one, the chronological, because it talks more about your work is experience and the projects, and the experience you have really gained through that work. But if you're a kind of recent graduate, and also if you're in the middle of your work experience, and also if we have any lapses, right, any gaps in your work history, then functional is the best one, because it talks more about the skills and the technologies, whatever technologies you have gone through. But if you really wish to combine both of them, so right, so you can just go for combination as well. Just to simplify, right? So in my case, like I have a work experience like 5.5 years. So in this scenario, I actually like to highlight more on my skills and the technologies which I learned so far, right? And the projects or my achievements, or if there's going to be any certificates. So all those things I really want to highlight rather than speaking more about my education background or my work history or the projects. But if you're a graduate, right, if you're in the final year and if you're about to get graduated, right, and so basically in that case you can focus more on your recent projects, or if you have gone through any internship, even you can highlight those projects. And if you have done some online courses, even those things can be included. So I'm just going with the combination for this session, right? I'm just going to show the blend of the work experience and the skills as well. So now I just got to know, okay, what type of format I really need. The next step comes the data. For any dashboard or visualization, data is like the source or key element, right? So how do you really get started with this data set? So I'm just going to display a very simple Excel format which I've created for today's session. So I just have a multiple variables here, columns basically. So basically I just created a column which says my name, role, and kind of a brief intro and geographical information. And all the like if they wish to reach out to me on social media, like all the possible profiles, I am there. And this segment it actually talks about the key skills and the tools. So basically these are the skills, and I also rated them on a scale of 1 to 5. Same thing goes with tools as well. And then comes all about my education background and as well as the work history. So what I've done here is so sometimes we actually wish sometimes we prefer displaying only the work history, right, the roles or the organizations which we are working. But sometimes people wish to display both, starting from their educational background till their current role. So for that reason, you can actually go with this pretty simple format. So this column says whether it's institution or a company, and the next one says which one it is, the name, and also if so what kind of degree or role you're in that. Description is even you can include this. And this one says whether it has been completed or you're still in this particular role or not, and start year and end year. So this is all about this work experience and the education background. And then comes these key elements. So if you have done any certifications, you can just give the title and the link, and also list out your achievements. Same way goes with few other facts. So if you want to add some something like extracurricular activities or some other favorite quotes or fun facts, even those can be added. So if you observe one thing here, for each and every column I added as a new, each and every variable I added them as an new column, because that's the like columnar data structure in Tableau, right? This is a very simple data set I've created. So let me just switch back to my presentation. So I'm done with my data. So I have all the points I need for my dashboard. So next comes the wireframe. So this is the format or approach I usually follow, even in my, daily work, before even getting started with the actual Tableau dashboard development, I used to create a wireframe. And again, I prefer this doing in two ways. So first approach is simply sketching the wireframe, basically with just a help of a piece of paper and color pens or some pencil. I'll just draw a rough sketch. It need not be actually perfect. Just keep it cool and casual, so that I'll get some idea, basically how my story flows, or how do I position the elements, such kind of thing. I really understand, and I'll get some clarity on this. And other approach I follow is, sometimes instead of using this kind of notepad technique, I go with like a digital form, maybe using a PPT, right, or any other online tools also. And the reason for the second approach is, let's assume, okay, I've done some wireframe, and like let's assume in my work itself. So I'm about to share this with my stakeholder. So based on the feedback, obviously there is going to be so many iterations or less number of iterations, right? In that case, if I followed my first approach, sketching on a paper, I should really start all the way from the beginning, right? That is again going to take equal amount of time. But if it is going to be in the form of PPT or something, I can quickly come and duplicate the slide and just tweak the here and there for the minor changes. So that's actually really helpful, this kind of wireframe process, because in this way, once I really know what is the output, or what my end user really needs, my development time is going to be very, very less. There is going to be less number of reworks or redo. And then comes actual development. So I'm just going to show some sample resume which I've created. So it's a very simple and basic one, because I really wanted to keep it a very, very clean format with minimal elements and light shades and so on. So I'll quickly walk you through this, and I'll also touch base on a few of the best practices which I followed in this. So first comes my name and the title, right? This is actually, really, helpful to understand my role, and also a brief intro or a headline about my profile. So what I'm really into. And then comes the contact info. So this is very, very important, because since our Tableau dashboard is really interactive, and if my recruiter is going to reach out to me, they can simply click on any of these icons, and they can reach out to me. So if I'm just going to click here, it will take me to my Tableau public portfolio on the browser. And also just make sure, for while placing these elements, it should be in the right spot. So basically, there has been so many, studies or research, going on, basically when a user looks at a dashboard, how do they, where do they look first? Like which spot really grabs their attention, those kind of things. So that's the reason I just, displayed the contact info card on, kind of top right corner, so that quickly, they'll get to see this card and they can reach out to me. And then comes timeline. So I just went with a simple timeline, but there are also a few other options, right? Kind of bar charts, Gantt charts, so many, right? But I want to keep it very, very simple. So I went a simple timeline chart here. So basically, it shows all my, educational background and my work history also. So if anyone hovers over this dot, they'll get to know what it is all about. And comes this key skills. So I also rated them on a scale of 1 to 5. I just want to keep it very simple instead of different scale. And I just highlighted like top 6 skills, and also I created this kind of chart to have a nice look here. And then comes a summary. So basically this just, you can just list out, few of your, roles and responsibilities in your organization, or if, few of your activities in the Tableau community, right? So all of them can be listed out here. And yeah, this is, kind of, it's kind of, like least important one, right? So what I'm really interested in, such as watching movies, gardening, painting, and yoga and meditation, right? So this is like a least important one, and that's the reason you will see this, information at the bottom left corner. And then comes the Tableau badges. So, we have this kind of, role-based courses from Tableau. So I'll quickly introduce to this website, e-learning. So we still have the time, until this 30th of June. You can just go here and enroll yourself, and you need to use this code 2020 e-learning, and from that day you will get 90 days of free access to the learning content. So we have like two types of learning, either through this kind of badges by role, either if I'm a designer I can go through this course, or the data scientist I can go through this one. And if you're also looking for a very exhaustive learning, such as this top 1, 2, 3, intermediate, advanced, even that is there actually. So just feel free to explore these things, because they're really, really useful, and it is also free to access until this month. So I'll just quickly walk you through the other versions. So I just reiterated, in this way, from the first version, I just, added like, kind of borders like this. So what I've done, I just, used a simple, text box, right? And I gave the background color as gray, and I just brought this here, right? Oops, it should be border, right? And also now this experience is behind this. I'm just going to use the float option to bring this one front, right? So this is a one way of doing. So, and I have few other versions. A simple approach is just use any text box, and you can make use of this border option and by varying the width. And other is it looks fancy, but actually it's nothing. I just have two text boxes and align something like this. And next one is like, again, two text boxes. It looks like a shadow effect, right? So I just have one behind the other, right? So that's it's very it adds a very nice and elegant look, but also it's very easy to create, right? Just by using the objects available in Tableau itself. We need not to even look for any external shapes or images. And this is another, and this is an alternative one. And also when it comes to dashboard development, so I already sketched this out on my notepad. And while starting in Tableau, I used to create this kind of placeholders on my dashboard, so that I can exactly estimate, or arrive at the right position and the height and width of each elements. And I'm just going to quickly end this topic, by saying, just make sure you're always linking your LinkedIn profile and also Tableau public gallery. Even, when I look out for any, profiles or, candidates, we always really give preference to these two things. So just make sure it is always linked. And also do check out our Tableau public gallery, because we have like, amazing, resumes from our community, right? So, like, so many wonderful dashboards from our awesome Tableau community. You can even actually get inspired by looking at this. And also so for my dashboard, I just Googled and I got an inspiration. And you can also look at the Pinterest also. So also I'm planning to create like few more templates and share with you guys, so that you can simply play around with these dashboards, and you just need to edit this Excel with your information, and then come back to this dashboard and just refresh data source, so that this exact dashboard you can use it as a starter workbook or a template. So yeah, that's all I have today. Over to you, Kizley.
Thanks, Divya. Really helpful pointers for creating dashboards for those who want to show your Tableau skills as well as share your resume. So we'll now be having a short Q&A session. So if you have any questions for our speakers, you can use the Q&A option at the bottom of your screen to input your questions, and our speakers will answer them. So Naveen, over to you for the Q&A.
Yeah, so I think we already got few questions. This is from Charles. Manpreet, this is for you. In which instance, like the type of data set or quality of data, would you recommend using a logical layer or physical layer?
Okay, so I think as of now, so this is the very first release of data model. Okay, so at this stage, I would suggest that if my data quality is good, and if I have fairly implemented my data model in the database side or in the data source side, then you should definitely go with the logical layer. Okay, uh, but if there are um, like relationships, or if database is or data source is more of a data storage kind of stuff, so it is not maintaining any kind of relationships, then probably physical layer may be a better option, right? But at the same time, this is something you can probably test it before doing anything. So take a small use case and then play around with that data set. And moreover, in a relationship, it's not like pure relationship you can maintain. You can also have a hybrid kind of stuff. Okay, so you can create some level of physicalization, and then some kind of relationship also you can put. Definitely it will give a better, or it will give a good performance with respect to a complete physicalization. And moreover, again, it depends on the use case, because if I have a huge volume of data uh, and uh, uh, and there are different sheets in my dashboard or in my workbook, uh, then if it is physicalized, then definitely I am going to use all the tables in the joins, right? And in case of relationship or logical layer, then each view will have its own set of join based on uh, based on the attributes which have been selected in the view. But yes, if somebody has already implemented data model at the backend, and the ETL layer at the backend is are strong enough, business rules are already applied, definitely I would ask them to go with relationship or logical layer. Yeah, but yes, try it.
Thanks, Manpreet. Praveen, there is another question for you, which would be
Okay.
how to start with a modern designing, how to start with Adobe XD, Adobe products to start the UI and UX designing for Tableau from Tableau perspective. What is the base concrete knowledge?
Okay, so I think so. There are almost three questions here: how to start with modern UI, how to start with XD, and how to start with UI UX topics. So these are extremely diverse topics. They don't talk to each other. These are extremely independent topics. So starting for UI UX, right? If you want to learn it very quickly, or if you have a span of, if you're thinking of span of 6 months, then you can take up a course on Udemy, or you can learn from any good Coursera platform, or anything that you think is worth enough, and that should help you out within 6 or 7 months. But it's a course which has no limitations to the learning platform. So it's not like a coding platform where you tell, you know what, I have finished some syntax, I can answer the questions now. It doesn't work in that way. It needs years of practice. So that's why people who want to do it as a profession, who want to do it for entire lifetime, there is an exam called seeds. It's called Common Entrance Examination for Design. It's hosted by the IIT. It's an open entrance examination for 19, no, not 19 of them. It's almost, right now it's taught in 7 IITs, and it's a very promising course. It's also there in IISc Bangalore. So if you're trying to sing as a profession, you can do a full-fledged course for 2 years. It's extremely good, and it's extremely helpful if you want to pursue a career in UI UX design. Coming to Adobe XD, if you want to learn that, there is a page called letsxd.com. It's run by a product manager from Adobe XD called Pinsky, Howard Pinsky. You can take a look at that. It's extremely simple, and you can get started on with Adobe XD. It's just cakewalk. If you have a good knowledge of how UI works, shouldn't even be a problem. And implementing modern UI, I think so. Once you are full-fledged and thorough with the above two topics of how UX design works and how any graphic design tool, or if you can take Photoshop to design, you can even easily come to know how to incorporate that into a modern UI design, because at that point you should definitely be researching about UI and all that. So pretty much it should cover your third question. I think that should be enough.
Yeah. Thank you, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah, due to time constraint, there are other few questions. We'll be reaching out to the respective guest speakers, and we'll be sending out the Word document about all the questions and answers for you guys. Okay. So we can start with the happy hours, where we have a poll, just like a kind of like polls we decided, and we kept few questions over there. So maybe you can answer, and you can just put up the polls over there. I'm sending out the link in the chat. Just open and give a poll. Yeah, I've sent out.
Right, so I just would like to add that this is just like a fun poll. There are no right or wrong answers. So please just feel free to answer it whatever you want. We'll be giving you about 2 minutes, and then we'll be sharing the results of the poll. So basically the idea is just get to know how everyone uses Tableau and the different kind of experience everyone has with the tool.
Yeah, let's share the poll results. I'm sharing my screen. Are you guys able to see my screen?
Yes, I can see.
Yeah. So do you prefer like I think it's a close battle, LOD and table calculations. Divya, what is your vote on this? What's a fun thing to use, table calculation or LOD?
Most of the scenarios I do go with table calcs itself.
Okay. So
Yeah,
do you
I
prefer?
prefer LODs though.
Nice. Table calculations are I can say bit complex, but yeah. Do you prefer light or dark background? What I always go for light background. So
Yeah,
how
I
about
think
your?
in most business dashboards, people would prefer light background. So I guess that was expected.
Do you prefer pi or bar chart? I think this is also a unanimous question. Yeah, this more people won't go for pie chart. That's for sure. Used to Tableau work both. Yeah, we have good percentage for both. What do you use? Tableau, data exploration, visualization. Yeah, so the use case for the data exploration, visualization, what I usually prefer or what I usually do is like a lot of data cleansing, data mappings, standard deviations. If you want to check the outliers, I just get the data and put it into Tableau and explore each and everything. I'll play with it accordingly how we want to represent it out in the dashboards. The oldest tab. Oh, there are 4 people who are 6.0 or older. That's good.
So
22
we
bit
have
or
some Tableau veterans then.
yeah. A number of dashboards usually created 1 to 5. Oh, there is one with more than 20. Who is that? So from performance perspective, I can say like you can go for 1 to 5, max like 7, kind of that, so that it will be good. And from user perspective, you won't be able to give too much of information on the dashboard. Like simple is best, I can say. On average, you spend more time Tableau public and Tableau. Oh, it's a tie then. You're able to compute table calculations currently in the first element more often than I can say
Okay.
like table calculations are a little bit tricky, but once you get mastered, like you can do a lot of wonders with that. Let's see, I prefer red and green. Let's go for orange and blue because it's many people use for red and green. I think like red and green may consist of some party colors. I can say conservative party colors. What do you say, Kizley?
Yeah, so it's not really recommended to use red and green because it's not colorblind friendly. So if someone has colorblindness, they would not be able to make out that palette. So it's not actually good practice, but yeah, it is quite intuitive. But I would still prefer to use red, blue, or orange blue to show variance.
Okay. Divya, how about you? Which one you prefer?
Yeah, so I usually prefer the orange blue palette because just to make sure it is always friendly with color blindness.
Yeah. So on a simple note, like wherever your guys are selecting the colors, just check for the color blindness palettes as well. Like because so what are the dashboards you will be developing? It's a diversified people. Many people will be seeing that, so that it's best to have like all see the same palette accordingly. I think that's all we have.
Yeah, I think most of the answers uh, were according to expectations.
Yeah.
For me, I didn't actually expect so many people to use red green, but apart from that, yep.
Yeah, this is good. Yeah.
All right.
So yeah.
I think we can
Uh,
wrap up.
Yeah. We'll be sharing the PPT, whoever like guest speakers shared to across all of you guys. The questions which you asked, which will be answered and will be shared according to the document. And the recording will be uploaded to the Tableau channel where you can access it again. I hope that's all I can say.
Yep. And Praveen and Manpreet, if you don't mind, if you could share your maybe Twitter handles or email ID with the participants, they could reach out to you directly if they have any questions, since we had to skip a bit of the Q&A.
Yep, absolutely.
Sure.
All right. Thank you. All right. Thank you everyone for joining in such large numbers. I personally learned a lot from the sessions today and hope you have too. So please reach out to us. Let me just show you our Twitter and LinkedIn pages. So you can connect with us or follow us on Twitter at Bangalore TUG. This is our handle. And you can also connect with us on LinkedIn at Bangalore Tableau User Group. So for our upcoming sessions, we'll be announcing the registrations and speakers, etc., on these platforms. So thank you all for joining us. Hope you had a good time. See you at our next session. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Have a
Thank you.
nice weekend.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye.